Thank you very much. And thank you, Robin. Make a difference every day. Certainly something that I'll use from here on in. I had no idea that you people had so many tools and assets at your disposal. From what I've seen tonight, it's a pretty impressive lineup that you've got. Now we've got Manuka honey. And guess what? We're from Western Australia, so it's an added bonus. I've got to give you a few minutes of education and questions and answers about Manuka honey and the Australian Manuka honey that you have in a jar, and what's so special about Manuka honey. Well, in actual fact, it goes back probably 2,000 years BC. The Egyptians first started using honey on wounds, to heal wounds. So they've been using for health and healing for over 1,000 years. Now, someone else said you've got a lot of everyday products, and why you use toothpaste every day. You should be using Manuka honey every day, even if it's just a spoonful, because it has great reasons behind medicinal power, and they're far more active than many of the other honeys. And the honey that you have in your toolbox is 830 MGO, which I'll explain what MGO is a little further down the line. So everything comes down to the flowers that are bees that they graze on. And Australia has the happiest bees and healthiest bees in the world. We interview them. So throughout Western Australia, Manuka Life and through Otomi, we've started a plant breeding program to improve the Manuka flower, a clonal genetics program 6 years ago. And to that day, we have plants that will flower for longer, we have plants that will produce more nectar, and we have plants that produce a more powerful MGO or methoglyoxal when it comes to the hive. Professor Peter Molan first discovered the activity of Manuka honey in New Zealand. There's only one variety of Manuka bush in New Zealand. In Australia, has over 80 species of the plant. The scientific name is Leptospermum. Yeah. And we have 80 different varieties in our clonal genetics plant breeding program. We've on, I think, clone number 7 or 8 on the plantations. And that's what brings us to why is Manuka honey so powerful and so much more beneficial over standard honey. The critical force behind the active antibacterial effect of Manuka honey is methoglyoxal. So that's contained in the nectar of the Leptospermum flowers, and that's where the bees feed and take it back to the hive. So methoglyoxal is a scientific way of measuring the active ingredients within the honey for health and well-being. So the strength and the potency of the Manuka products is directly measurable by the MGO present. The one that you have is 830 MGO. It's the highest MGO table honey that we have available. So it can start a little bit higher than that, but that's where we always guarantee that that's a minimum it'll be. So all the honey batches are independently tested to ascertain the strength and quality of the Manuka honey. These testing methods are supported by the Australian Manuka Honey Association, the AMHA, which is a leading organisation for the provision of the robust science-based criteria to identify, define and authenticate Australian Manuka honey. So when you see these symbols, no. Okay, so we'll come to those in a moment. So the overall benefits in assisting the immune system is Manuka honey, the proven antibacterial effects of Manuka honey, along with the antimicrobial and the anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant properties contribute to helping the immune system benefit and protects the body from the flu. So it also aids in scar and wound healing. So we also have been producing and doing testing on a wound gel for the use of healing scars and wounds. And again, it all comes down to the antibacterial qualities, antioxidant properties that keep a moist wound environment. So if you use anything above 400 mgo, that's deemed to be medical grade honey. So what you've got in 830 is one of the highest healing honeys as well. So you can consume it and put it on your wounds. As I said, the Egyptians were doing it 2,000 years before Christ. So it also promotes good oral health. So we're talking about toothpaste and many other things that are beneficial to your health. So Manuka honey will attack harmful oral bacteria associated with plaque, gum inflammation, tooth decay. It'll help inhibit the harmful growth of oral bacteria and gingivitis. Thank you very much. You could come and read this and I'll sit down. It also improves the digestive system and prevents gastric ulcers. So consuming Manuka honey helps to decrease symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome, has proven to improve antioxidant status and reduces inflammation to attack the bacterial infections. It helps to treat gastric ulcers by attacking well, I'm not going to try and say that. Manuka honey is a natural cough suppressant as well. So the antibacterial properties can reduce the inflammation and fight the harmful bacteria, whilst the honey coats the throat with a soothing effect. So you're not only getting a food, you're getting a lot of health and well-being benefits as well. And as I said, one of the other benefits is that it's Western Australian, and you're in Western Australia. Two of the other things that honey is scientifically proven to do with Manuka honey is it assists with acne and eczema. So it's a natural cough suppressant. There are numerous benefits that come with not only just having a spoonful a day will help with a lot of the ailments that we get or can get. Soothe sore throats, we covered that earlier. So what makes it active? MGO. It can be used as wound dressing against golden staph and other infections. It also promotes properties, osmotic properties, acidity and hydrogen peroxide are neutralised from Manuka honey. So when it was first discovered, it was called non-peroxide activity, NPA, because it remained even when the peroxide was removed. The scientists discovered that naturally occurring compound methylglycol was responsible for much of the unusual activity of the Manuka honey. The MGO is from DHA, which occurs organically in the nectar of various Manuka flowers in Australia. So all of these things go to making your Manuka honey stand out. And we work very closely with Atomi in the plant breeding program to make sure that you've got the most pure and the best Manuka honey at 830 MGO that you can get out of Australia. So we just want to do the questions now, Sunny. So I think I've covered most of those within the presentation as to why MGO is beneficial for you. Antimicrobial, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, sore throats, acne, eczema, oral health, digestive health, all of those things that come with it, and it's a food as well. We must never forget it's still a food. Next one. Next one. Number 2. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Sean. What do the different numbers mean between MGO and UMF? UMF is a New Zealand scale. It's called the unique Manuka factor. It's not it's just recognised in New Zealand. They have coined it for their own industry to make money out of, to be able to use as a licensed registry. MGO is a scientific register or the scientific measurement of Manuka honey. So methoglyoxal, the higher the methoglyoxal, the more benefits they are to a limit for table honey. And you've got the optimum limit and the higher end of the limit at 830 in the MGO for that. Okay, this is an interesting question that comes up a lot, that Australian Manuka honey is darker than New Zealand Manuka honey. A majority of the Manuka honey that comes out of New Zealand is already creamed, which means that it's aerated, so that lightens it up, which it gives it air bubbles in the middle. Raw Manuka honey that you have in a jar is not creamed. It is naturally pure as it comes out of the hive. Just filtered, it must be filtered. So we get any little legs and everything like that out. It happens. One more? That's the last? Okay, one other question I got asked many times. Can I use a metal spoon in my Manuka honey? Yes, you can. So thank you very much.